Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. Okay, so today we're tackling something that usually gives Spanish learners a massive headache, the condicional compuesto, also known as the conditional perfect. Have you ever felt totally tongue-tied trying to talk about things that already happened but, well, didn't exactly go as planned? Yeah, we've all been there. But don't worry, we're going to demystify this whole structure together right now.
So, how do we actually express past regrets in Spanish? Seriously, it's a huge point of frustration, isn't it? We desperately want to talk about those missed opportunities, the should-haves and the would-haves of life, but the grammar often feels like this giant roadblock. Well, stick with me, because by the end of this explainer, you're going to know exactly how to voice these impossible pasts with total confidence.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our quick roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the would-have bridge. Then we'll talk about expressing past regrets. After that, we'll check out the si hubiera match. And finally, we're going to wrap up with a quick irregular participles mini quiz to test your skills.
All right, section 1, the would-have bridge.
So the absolute best trick to mastering this tense is actually to just anchor it to a concept you already know intimately in English. Seriously, whenever your brain thinks, I would have done something, your automatic reflex in Spanish needs to be the condicional compuesto. As you'll see here, the English conditional perfect uses would have plus a past participle, right? Well, the Spanish equivalent works identically. It's basically a one-to-one translation, which honestly makes it so much easier to grasp. Now, what's really interesting about this is the actual math of the grammar. It totally removes the intimidation factor because it's just a clean three-part formula. Step 1, just your subject, yo, tú, él, ella. Step 2 is your auxiliary verb. This is literally always the verb haber conjugated in the simple conditional. So you get habría, habrías, habría, habríamos, habríais, and habrían. And then step 3, you simply drop in the past participle of your main verb, like amado, comido, or vivido. Boom, that's the whole shebang. Moving right along to section 2, expressing past regrets. So the main job of this structure is to talk about arrepentimientos, regrets, or these impossible actions in the past. We're talking about things that would have happened, but just didn't because some necessary condition wasn't met. Let's look at a classic excuse. I would have called you, but I didn't have battery. Notice how perfectly that maps over to Spanish. Yo te habría llamado, pero no tenía batería. See that? I would have called maps flawlessly to yo habría llamado. The moment to call is completely gone, it's impossible to change now, and this is exactly the tense you use to express that regret.
All right, section 3, the si hubiera match.
Now, this specific combination right here is what we like to call the pareja ideal, the perfect pair. It's a structure that constantly trips up B2 and C1 learners, but it's actually pretty straightforward. It starts with si, meaning if, followed by the pluscuamperfecto de subjuntivo, that's the hubiera part. And then it pairs perfectly with our star of the day, the condicional compuesto. Think of it like a 1-2 punch. The first half sets up the impossible, unfulfilled condition from the past, and the second half delivers the regretful result. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how this perfect pair operates in the wild. Let's look at the English first. If you had studied more, you would have passed the exam. The condition wasn't met. You didn't study enough. And the result? Unchangeable. You didn't pass. In Spanish, it flows beautifully as, si hubieras estudiado más, there's your impossible condition, habrías aprobado el examen, the conditional perfect result. They are structural best friends that almost always travel together.
Which brings us to section 4, the irregular participles mini quiz.
Okay, let's make this interactive, because honestly, the biggest trap with this grammar isn't the haber conjugation at all. It's messing up those irregular participles in step 3 of our formula. Let's see if we can catch some of these common pitfalls. For example, how would we say, I would have done, or I would have made? The verb is hacer. Take a quick second. Try to conjugate that participle in your head. Yo habría. What? Hecho. The phrase is yo habría hecho. Remember, the exact same irregular participles you already use for the present perfect, like when you say he hecho, they apply right here in the conditional perfect too. All right, let's try another one. How about you would have said? The verb is decir. Think about it. Tú habrías dicho. Tú habrías dicho. Great job if you got that. Let's keep the momentum going. Next up, he would have seen. The verb is ver. What's the participle for this one? Él habría. visto. Él habría visto.
This is a super common one, by the way, especially when you're talking about movies or events that you missed out on.
Okay, here is the final one, and I'm telling you, this is a massive hurdle for English speakers. We would have written. The verb is escribir. Nosotros habríamos. What do you think?
Escrito. So, the absolutely crucial point here is that it is not escribido. That is literally the #1 mistake Spanish learners make with this specific verb. The correct irregular participle is always, always escrito. Nosotros habríamos escrito.
Let's bring it all together and summarize our key takeaways from today's explainer. First, remember the English bridge. Whenever you want to say would have, instantly trigger the conditional compuesto in your brain. Second, keep a close eye out for those tricky irregular participles like hecho, dicho, and escrito. And third, please don't confuse this with the simple conditional. Saying iría a la fiesta means I would go. That's a future possibility. But habría ido a la fiesta means I would have gone. That is a past impossibility, a real regret. To wrap things up, I want you to think about your own life. What is one impossible past action you would have changed? Now, taking exactly what we've discovered today, how do you say it using the condicional compuesto? Formulate that sentence in your head right now. Thanks so much for exploring this topic with me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.